All right, I'm about to watch a very long 24-minute video. Men's rights versus feminism. Is toxic masculinity real or not? Let's go. This is a very old video, man. I watched it a long time ago. I want to watch it again, bro.
Thank you for tuning in for Middle Ground, which is all about disagreeing and
Nobody
having a
cares.
dialogue.
Nobody
Make
cares.
sure you stick around to the end because we want to discuss more about the ethos of Middle Ground. But for now, we hope you enjoy.
Intro.
You said that women
Okay.
are misguided. We are not misguided. We do not need you to shepherd us.
Okay, let's just go to the beginning.
Step forward if this statement is true.
Okay, so they're gonna step forward if they agree with the statement, and if they stay back, that means they disagree. The ones that agree have to step forward, sit right there, have a conversation, and then the ones that disagree come in and explain their reasons why. These men support men's rights. These women support feminism. This man in the middle over here does not represent men in the world. He does not. He does not. He's an incel. Okay, he does not represent men. Nobody should want to be like him. His ideas are toxic.
For you. I believe men and women are different but equal.
Yes, I agree. Are different but equal? Wait, okay, hold on. Equal in what though? Equal in what? It matters. Okay, let me calm down.
I know as a woman that I don't have the same physical strengths. Men and women are
Oh,
built differently.
thank
I
you.
think whenever things are built
Yeah.
differently, it's for a reason.
Thank
right?
you, yeah.
But at the same
100%.
time, the amount of limits that have been put on women historically, like the fact that not too long ago we were just allowed to like start voting. Even today, like the wage gap, just all types of stuff. Like women
Oh.
just don't have a
Man, and how long was this video? 3 years ago. Okay, the wage gap has been debunked a lot of times. When asked about the information that was given to us about the wage gap, they were asked, okay, you're saying that a lot men are getting paid more than women. Okay, I just want to clarify that before we continue with the video. Okay, that's not true. Men are not being paid more than women out of spite, out of inequality, or anything like that. Men are getting paid more because men are working more jobs and they're working more hours. The people that made this statement that, hey, the wage gap is real, they never calculated how many hours men work versus how many hours women work, and how many jobs men work versus how many jobs women work. If you calculate everything as a whole, of course, you're going to get a massive difference between men and women because men are willing to work more hours. We do not have the burden of having to actually be nurturing caretakers of the kids. You know, most of us don't, at least. We don't have that responsibility, right? So we're able to work more hours. Weekends, you know, after 8 o'clock, 8 p.m., we're still able to work. And we're able to work in jobs like construction, you know? We're able to work in jobs like in the sewers. How many women work in the sewers? How many women work as tractors, truck drivers? How many women are truck drivers in the world compared to men? There's not a lot. So that's it's debunked. It's gone. There's no wage gap. Men just get paid more because they earn the money. That's it. You know? And don't take it the wrong way. I'm not willing to work in construction. I'm not willing to clean the sewers. I'm not willing to drive a truck for hours. But there are some men who are. So if you're gonna calculate all of us men and calculate the number of women, the amount of women, the amount of money women earn versus the amount of money men earn, you're gonna get a massive difference because those guys, they are willing to go the extra hours. Hell, I'm not even willing to work overtime because I'm doing content, bro.
lot of
But there
rights
are
that
dudes who are
just-
willing to work
it should
overtime.
have nothing to do with what gender we are to be able to be paid equally or just be treated with respect. So, yeah.
I do believe that, of course, there are biological differences between men and
Yeah.
women.
Of
And of
course.
course, there should also be legal equality. Of course, I disagree with the idea that women face systemic discrimination. You
Yeah.
just mentioned the wage gap, which has been debunked so many times.
So many,
I've
it's insane.
studied evolutionary biology quite a bit.
Oh my god,
And
this guy.
men and women are very
This guy.
different from not just a physical, the bone structure, the neurological department as well, as well
Okay.
as the chemical balances. And also, I don't believe that men and women are equal under the law either, or they should be rather. Children are not equal under the law. And it's not because we hate children, it's because we love them and we want to protect them.
So if you believe we're not equal, then that you're inferring that one would be greater than the
No.
other.
So let me
So that's what
chime
I'm
in with my
trying to-
perspective.
yes.
As far as not being equal, I don't think that that necessarily means inferior or superior. When it comes to certain things like roles like childbearing, a woman is going to be far more productive and a lot more nurturing than, say, a man. And when it comes to doing a lot more of the heavy lifting and the work, a man is probably going to be more suited for that role. And I don't think that that makes them any better or worse. We are just built, created, and born different.
I would also like to elaborate. I am not saying that they are worse overall or better overall.
They complement
like
each
he
other.
said, they do.
They complement each other beautifully.
They work very well together.
We
when
need
they
each
are
other for
working in that
for
offers-
offspring. I
yeah.
mean, that's part of the beauty of it. And I think trying to equalize them and make them the same and transition and all that, I don't believe is going to be the most conducive when it comes to the family raising children, but also just for overall well-being.
I want to note that you brought up children being unequal to adults. I just hope you weren't comparing women to children.
No, that would, oh my
I mean,
goodness.
it was technically a comparison of women
Okay,
and children.
I don't need you to
suppose.
protect me. I just need you not to harm me. I can protect myself. I am very capable of doing what I need to do. Okay?
Okay, sure.
You see the hostility. Like it's like okay, they gotta keep it a $1.50. Like I sometimes don't like that man's choice of words, but at the same time, she was just being hostile for like what reason? I don't know. Like no, you should understand what he meant. He wasn't like here's the thing. You should know what he meant. You should know that he wasn't being hostile. Maybe you can clarify that. Maybe you can point it out to him that were you comparing children to women? Are they akin to each other? It's like no, then take it as it. If he says no, then take it as it is. That's his answer. You got your confirmation. He wasn't being hostile. That's it. If he was lying, he's lying. You wouldn't know. It's none of your business. Okay? But he wasn't being hostile. So I feel like sometimes this conversation can go somewhat, but I still don't vibe with this dude, man.
Percent.
I am an incel or an
Yeah.
incel advocate, I suppose. I don't hate women at all. I think we're different, and they have aspects that are superior to men as well. It's just very contextual on the subject.
Toxic masculinity is real.
No, it's not. I disagree. 100%. I disagree.
I think that
Here we have another situation of people talking about something. Okay, never mind.
toxic
That's part of the
masculinity
game.
is definitely a real thing.
Okay,
it's
why?
kind of just the idea of
Why?
what masculinity should be.
Okay.
But it goes wrong a lot of the times, saying that violence, sex, power, being a controlling person makes you a man.
I see it in very
Okay.
unfortunate places.
I won't lie. Okay, let's hear what she has to say. Sorry.
It's like when the young men or boys
Okay.
in my family, even from like toddler age, are told you shouldn't be crying. Boys don't cry. And what that turns into, I see it when I'm in a bookstore and a guy who tries to get my number says, "Why y'all always gotta act like that?" And he sincerely had this like cracking voice, like he was hurt, but it was an entitlement. And that's toxic masculinity. It's saying like, you don't realize how your behavior is harmful.
That sounds like a personal experience. First of all, not all men are gonna say something like that, and not all women are gonna react the same way as you did, or think the same thing that you thought of when you heard that, when they hear something like that. So that sounds like a personal experience. And then when she explained toxic masculinity, right? She said it's like boys being, given the idea of what a man should be or something like that. Let me tell you what gives an idea of what a man should be. Reality gives an idea of how I should be as a man. There are certain things that I realize that there are certain things that I witness that okay, if I do something like if I do the same thing that he did, I'm gonna get the same result as him. If I do something that he did, I'm gonna get the same results as him. There are things that I learn by perceiving other people, and there are things that I learn by going through the experience myself. There are things that I do that I realize that if I do a certain thing, I'm gonna get a certain reaction out of people. Period. If toxic masculinity is real, women are part of the reason why it exists. If you're even gonna elaborate anything that is very I don't know, very normal or very reaction or very expected to being toxic masculinity, honestly. And if toxic masculinity exists, honestly, a lot of extreme versions of everything exists, as a matter of fact. Because I can't even argue that an extreme version of anything doesn't exist. I think an extreme version of anything exists, including toxic femininity or toxic feminism in this case. There's a healthy version
What
of
does
everything.
toxic masculinity mean? Is it character traits? Is it upbringing?
The suppression
Yeah.
of feeling for a lot.
The suppression of feeling. Sometimes what suppresses men, how men should feel, or how men should react to situations, is partly because of the reaction. Not just I guarantee you, you only need to laugh at a man once. For whatever reason, laugh. Laugh at him while he's crying. That is good enough reason for him to learn that he should never cry in front of a woman ever again. People, hear me out right now. Our actions have consequences. Our actions yield consequences. So understand that they all play a role. I'm not saying toxic masculinity doesn't exist. I'm not saying the suppression of feeling doesn't exist. But our reactions, our actions, they also play a part in it. They do.
A lot of men, because throughout childhood they're told man up. So because of that, there's a lot of repression.
Man up.
Repression then is usually channeled into anger for some people because they don't not always know how to express because they're told not.
The last time I heard the statement of man up, I'm sorry for pausing so many times. Oh man, I'm just passionate about this kind of stuff. The last time I heard a statement like that was in a situation of like, what do you do when your back is faced against the wall? Yeah, is that the statement? Yeah, exactly. When you're cornered, when you don't have any options but to, let's say, in a situation like, let's take my situation, for example. I want to do content, right? But at the same time, I gotta earn money for my family. So as I build this content stuff, it's not earning me money as yet, but I have a job right here where I have to attend, go to the office, do whatever corporate stuff that I gotta do, whatever, I gotta do all that. It's tedious. It has its own challenges. It's very separate from the content stuff that I do. So if I have to even apply that statement of man up, it would be in the situation of like, I gotta prioritize one of these things. I gotta prioritize one of them, right? One has to sit above the other in certain circumstances. Man up means do what is necessary, not for your joy, not for your perceived fulfillment in a momentary feelings, for momentary whatever. Yeah, you get the point. But for providing for providing longevity, for making sure that you have food on the table for the day. Go to your job, work, push, do good, perform, so that you can earn at the end of the month and you can provide for your family. And then when you have your spare time, you can focus on other things. Man up.
Not to express.
So upbringing. and
That's part of
environment.
it,
Okay.
yes.
But not something that's inherently a part
No.
of men.
No.
Okay.
I think that, when you're showing your emotions, especially to random people, random women in some cases, they will view you as weak. I was raised by a single
Yeah.
mother. I love her. She's my mom. I love her. But I could have used being told to act like a man. I think back, there were
Yeah.
some cases where I
Yeah.
was too emotional, and that negatively affected
Exactly.
what happened to me.
And it could be argued that some men, because they have never been shown how to control their emotions, how to control their actions when they're being, because that's the danger of men, by the way. If they're too emotional, they can react in a bad way around, they have the strength for it, so they can react in a bad way. We gotta we gotta teach this man how to handle these emotions. Otherwise, he's gonna react in a bad way around his people. The majority of prisoners right now, the majority of people who are committing crime, who are addicts, they're all raised in a single parent household, no father figure in sight whatsoever. Majority of them, It's a country. It's not the the majority of reasons why they're in prison or why they're criminals, but it's a contributing factor. It plays a role. So having somebody who was gonna, show you how to handle your emotions was gonna be an important thing. You know, I agree. Suppression of emotion is not a good thing, but at the same time, over expressing your emotion is also not a good thing, especially to the people around you. Lines.
May I ask a
I
question?
mean bars.
Sure.
What is your definition of weak as a man?
Weak?
Not being as forward as you could be, not
Yes.
being as honest, or
Yes.
trying to be not as emotional as you don't need to be. You don't have to cry over a cut. I know, sometimes cuts hurt a lot, but sometimes it's necessary to be strong for the benefit of not just yourself, but for the people around you.
Yes,
It's fine
100%.
to act emotional in certain
Ooh,
cases.
she hates
but I
that.
don't think it's fine to act that
She
way.
hates him making common
with a woman.
sense.
Maybe,
Whoa.
you have a really good friend
Whoa,
who
wait,
sees you
whoa.
for the benefit of not just yourself, but for the people around you. It's fine to act emotional in certain cases, but I don't think it's fine to act that way with a woman. Maybe, you have a really good friend and he sees you cry, he's your best friend, and you're crying about something really personal. I think that's fine.
I feel like you're conflating two different situations, because you started off with saying a random person or even women. So it feels like, okay, this is a
No,
woman
no,
that
no,
we
no. Yeah, this is women.
don't have a bond with or any type of relationship with. And then you
Okay.
mentioned, or in front of your best friend. That's okay to cry. Well, that woman could be your best friend.
That's-
so.
I don't think
And
you're friends with
again,
a woman. So
Oh my goodness. Okay, damn. I mean, hey, he has to say it. He has to say it. I mean, I don't agree with everything that he says, but hey, man, some things, bro, some things have to be said, man. Some things have to be said.
because you don't see us as equal, as you said before.
I don't think showing emotions is a sign of weakness. I actually think it's a sign of strength. Men do
It doesn't matter if other people don't think the same thing. It doesn't matter. Other people don't feel the
live
same
shorter
way.
lives, and that's because of a repression of emotions, and that's due to many things
It's so funny.
that
It's like,
patriarchy
yeah.
has instilled.
Of emotions.
It has been shown that
No.
a person's well-being, their lifespan
No.
is shortened when they are not able to express their emotions. In addition, when they
Can
don't
they
have
say
physical
something, please?
touch, or when they don't have a partner to keep them company.
Bro, they do not know how it's like being a man. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know.
We're
They don't know.
human
Let me
beings here.
let me
We
cool
need to
down.
talk to each other. And if you think that our health isn't affected when you're not able to express that you are sad or upset, you're wrong.
Oh my
I
goodness. Okay,
think
damn.
that men's rights activists
I feel like-
are only men's rights activists as a response to women expressing that they want equality. I don't think they focus on actual men's rights issues.
Nah. That's so
and rather it's
one-sided.
just an attack on women
That
and
is so one-sided, bro. Oh man, I feel like they should have responded to that one. Why didn't they respond to that one? Why didn't they respond to that one? I feel like a lot of women do not understand how it's like being a man. And they never will understand, and I don't expect them to understand. I don't. I truly don't. Because some women actually have tried to be in a man's shoes. You know that's crazy? So let me get closer here. You know, some women have tried to be in a man's shoes. They actually tried. They actually wanted to experience how it's like being a man for a day, for a period of time. Some women killed themselves. Did I say killed? Damn. They unalived themselves. Damn. That was a joke, YouTube. That was a joke. They unalived themselves. You know, because it was that tough being a man. As a matter of fact, some women tried a dating site, a dating app, right? Simply just make a fake account where you know pretend to be a man and try to have a conversation with a woman in the dating app. Just try. Just try. In a single day of being a man, you're gonna understand that first of all, nobody cares about you. Nobody is coming to your rescue. Nobody's gonna attend to your. Nobody's gonna give you attention for no reason. If they don't want to give you attention, they won't give you attention. You have to earn things, a lot of things, not just attention. You know, not just a standing, a stance, something. I don't know. You're not gonna be heard for no reason. Nobody's gonna listen to you just because you're making noise or just because you're saying something that makes sense. Nobody. Nobody. You do not understand how it's like being a man. You don't. But I don't expect you to because you're a woman and I don't know how it's like to be a woman. And I'm pretty sure I hope you don't expect me to understand. I can do my best. And I wish you would do the same thing too. I would wish you would do the best too.
Hey, women have more advantages than men.
Yeah. Well, okay, I don't know, but you're gonna have to
I
look
can
at the
speak from a
stats
hiring
for that one.
standpoint when it comes to things like affirmative action, and there are
Okay.
certain roles that traditionally men and women have been able to serve in, and now women can basically do all of those things, right? Because we've had such a strong advocacy for equal representation in the workplace. Whereas, for example, you know, you'll never find a man as a midwife nurse, and I don't think it's appropriate. That's why there are those differences.
Women in like the most important parts of society have an advantage. There's a lot of positions that men simply aren't getting hired at anymore because of the fact that they're a man. And it's not just in the workforce, it's also
It's
I would
not the
say
end of the
it's
world.
a lot easier for a woman to find a relationship, even if she, says finding the right guy is so hard. It really isn't. But sometimes for a lot of guys, finding a girl at all is hard.
If I have to consider what I wear before stepping out the house, because I don't want to draw some type of attention, I don't know how many other men have to consider, is this outfit going to be deemed safe for me? Any situation that I have experienced where like I physically felt endangered simply because I don't want to give my number out. It's part of that entitlement for men. You're not entitled a conversation with me. You're not entitled to my number.
That aside, it's like, are you going to make one example of the entitlement of men when it comes to asking for your number be the all-encompassing thing that all men have a problem when it comes to approaching women?
Well, firstly, it's not just an example. It's not necessarily all men. I don't dislike men. I love sports, I play video games. I have bros, I hang out with dudes. We just want men to realize that if you have friends that are having locker room talk, as a man, as an ally, please say something to your friends.
Do you think repressing that is really the solution here, though? If it's in a healthy male space,
There's nothing
I don't think
healthy
that's
about
healthy. I think it's
There's
toxic
not-
in itself.
I mean, if you're making jokes and you're doing all of that.
Jokes that are harmful jokes are not healthy because they just lead to people normalizing things. People always say, oh, it's just a joke, but when someone else hears it, they don't realize how that resonates and again, how that turns into violence. Like, this is not an isolated situation. I'm only thinking of 3 off the top of my head because if I think of too many, I'm gonna spiral
So
right
what's the
now.
alternative? Men shouldn't talk about these things.
No, I think
No
men
one's
can
ever
have a
said
healthy
that.
dialogue. I don't think men have to be toxic in order to have a conversation. I know plenty of men that are able to have conversations about healthy, productive things, just like women are.
Well, it's not obviously something that I have personal experience with, but only 1% of all people on the death row are women in this country. So when women and men commit identical crimes, women are much more likely to, for example, escape the death penalty. And that's just plain sex-based discrimination.
That I agree on.
That's true.
Yeah.
Look, I'm thinking about basic needs, like around the globe, the women who don't even have like proper like sanitary like
Yeah.
products.
I mean, I
Hygiene
have
stuff.
to agree. Just small things like a tax on a box of tampons. Do you think I choose to, to do this monthly? No.
Nah, that tax, that's not a man's fault. That is corruption's fault. That is the government's fault. They put tax on everything, man. Everything. Somebody should fight against this.
Trust me. So why should I have to pay taxes when this is a medical necessity?
We're just like dismissed. A lot of our symptoms, a lot of the things we report, especially women of color, but women across the board, are just treated a lot less equally.
I mean, I don't know.
I'd say that I'm an advocate for what I believe the role that men play in society. I believe
Yes.
that their views should be expressed openly, that they should be given a platform to do so, and I believed in men unapologetically and unashamedly being men as we were created.
I think in my heart that there are things that men are entitled to. I am all about human rights, and
I agree with that one. I agree with that one. There are some men out there who feel like they're entitled to a woman's attention, who are entitled to a woman's body, and I hate that. I hate that with all my heart because you have a person that you love in your life. You know, you have a mother, a sister, a cousin, a friend who's a woman, and they have to, and you have to literally witness, you know, the type of unwanted or unneeded attention on them. You know, at a consecutive scale, bro. Like day by day. You know, you wouldn't be surprised if she gone through something this week. You feel me? Like you wouldn't be surprised. You know, if you hear the stories, man, like it's insane. So when a woman tells you that, hey, listen, I feel like men are out there harassing us, men are out there bullying us, or you know, stalking us. You know, at the most extreme, you know, you got the biggest, the GBV stuff, the grape stuff. You know, like it's extreme, man. It's really really extreme out there. So I do feel like, you know, if that even plays a part in toxic masculinity, let's say for argument's sakes, you know, it's part of toxic masculinity or whatever. But I don't think it is, and I don't think I needed to bring that up. But if it is, just for argument's sake, I would agree with it. I guess I don't know, but I'm just saying that it exists. I'm saying that we should acknowledge that all of these things exist. We really should. It's not to argue against it or something like that. You know, a lot of women have a lot of experiences, and they will let you know. They will tell you, man. They will tell you. Even a woman who's just a normal woman, who's wearing normal clothes, will still get harassment treatment from other men out there. Just understand that. Understand that. And obviously, we sympathize as men. We don't know how that feels like. We don't know how that feels like. We don't have to worry about the clothes that we wear as much as a woman does, man. A woman has to worry about the shirt that she wears if it holds her too tight. Like this shirt of mine. This shirt of mine is very simple. But a woman has to worry about if she has to wear a similar shirt of, you know, that is made for women. You know, she has to worry about that. You know, she has to worry if her clothes are too revealing or something like that. You feel me? Like so it's really tough. It's really tough. I wouldn't wish that upon my greatest of enemies. You know, women have to go through a lot, and obviously all of these things can always escalate to the most extreme situation happening. But imagine facing, even if it doesn't, imagine facing that kind of treatment every single week, every single day, every single month. As she said, you know, she's only thinking three at the top of her head, because if she thinks of more, her head will spiral, because it's like that's how trauma works. You feel me? So hey.
I try to I do consider the rights of every human, but every time I hear of a men's rights activist, I hear anger and I hear very illogical reasoning, and it just boils my blood.
No, I don't know
'Cause
about
it's a
that.
setback for all of us.
No, the thing is, the thing is, I don't know about if women's activist rights exist, men's activist rights should exist. To be honest with you, I just I think the whole point is just to balance things out. Like I said, let's talk about real things that are really happening. You know, there are men who are being treated unfairly out there. There are situations that men have to face with that women don't have to face. You feel me? And it's real. There are advantages that women have that men don't have. That's real. You know, and vice versa. That's real.
I feel that the other side does not
Understand my
understand
values.
my values.
My values, okay, everybody feels the same way, I guess.
I think a lot of times when a movement is created, the other side thinks that they're being attacked or think that it's some like attempt at erasure. That's not what feminism is about at all. What do you need a whole men's rights activism movement for? I'm sincerely confused.
Well, I mean, like, I will advocate for positive masculinity
I like her honesty and genuinity. She is being real because I believe that she is okay, not believe, but I don't want to impose this on anyone or her. But I think she might be a victim of something, you know, and we can't talk about that. It's yeah.
what men should represent and healthy outlets for men. Like, I still think the Boy Scouts should be exclusively the Boy Scouts, for example, one of those things. Where I would like to think that we could get some common ground is when it comes to the clear biases that are in the court system,
Yes,
especially in
yes.
the marriage and family court system, right?
That stuff exists, yeah,
right
that's
there
real
is
stuff.
what I would advocate for when it comes to men's rights.
The
Yes.
things that stand valid, like that I'm hearing from y'all that are like valid to me, come
Okay.
from a place of like I am treated like unfairly by the system. Versus
Okay.
a lot of the things women are saying, it's also America and the system as well, but a lot of it is like harm from men.
How and where?
How and where, what?
Where's this harm from men coming from?
Okay, it started when I was young. I'm not going to talk too long. I was 16, got a bottle thrown at me because I told a boy no. It started when I was in a club. A boy touched me. I said no. He kept touching me. It got to the point he got violent. It gets to the point that the only reason why a man decided to stop touching me in the bookstore I talked about earlier is because he realized my husband was not too far away. And he said, sorry, bro. Never said sorry to me. That's
Look,
why.
pay
And
like
that's
dog.
off the top of my head. This is why I get upset because I'm like, I'm here to talk about like how you feel, but when you just dismiss the fact
Yeah,
that women
that's the
actually
problem,
have
that's the issue.
experiences, that's when it seems like it's about more than your rights. It seems like it's about your ego. And that's where I get pissed off. Because
no
how
point-
dare you tell another human being that their experiences, what they're telling you right in front of your face, is not valid.
I didn't say they were invalid. I said how and why. I'm trying to
How
understand.
and why? Because
listen.
it happened. It happened many times. It happened yesterday. It
why I'm
happened the
here.
day before.
Okay, I think some of the things that you guys are touching on, such as the court system and gender roles, are a subject of patriarchy, and that's part of what women are trying to dismantle is those traditional gender roles.
Are there any feminist organizations that have done anything, for example, to challenge bias against men and fathers in
Yes.
the family court?
Patriarchy, like what the hell? Sorry about that.
Absolutely.
Can you please give me like a list of feminist advocacy organizations
Look.
that have engaged in any meaningful advocacy to address those issues? Because there are actually none.
Okay, I know that you came with your little research or whatever. I didn't come with a list of like feminist organizations, but I know actively that there are women's organizations that are trying to dismantle those inequalities.
Just one name, just one
Again, I
organization.
didn't come with a list, my dude.
There are no such organizations.
There are no organizations that do that. There are no feminist organizations that have stood up against the legal biases that we have today. There are none. There are none. Like, let's stop painting. Just for the sake of, let's stop painting the other side as good or evil, or your side as good or evil, just for the sake of winning an argument. We're here to speak facts. Just as that woman said, do not dismiss my experiences. And don't dismiss other people's facts. And she said that it's all what do you call this? What do you call this thing? She said it's a product of patriarchy, the patriarchal system, and that's why feminist movements are trying to stop the patriarchal system because they care so much about men. No, that is a far cry from the truth. And that's why that guy brought it up. It was like, yo, Name one organization that has stood up against any of the things that we're speaking about today, any of the injustices that have been done against men in the law. Because none have ever stood up, because none exist, because it isn't a product of patriarchy. It is not a product of, oh my goodness, bro. It's a product of many things.
Washing powder.
It's a product of many things. Greed. It's a product of, I don't know. What else? What else can I say, bro? It's a product of so many things. All I know is that it's criminal, though. That's all I know. It's just criminal. Hold on. We have electricity here, man. What's happening now? Don't embarrass me, bro.
In what ways are men's rights at risk?
I think there has been significant progress over the last decade or so, especially in the legal field. But I think there are still significant disparities that need to be addressed, such as poor health conditions, bias against men in the criminal justice system, bias
Yes.
against men in family courts, and bias against men in the educational system, especially in colleges.
Men and women should be allies.
100% though. This is where this
Men
dude. This is where this dude is. I don't know. At this point, this dude is gonna be saying some crazy stuff, man. I swear, man. He's just.
Unfortunately, many of them don't want to even have this open dialogue that we're sharing right now. We need men to help be allies.
That's
to
the
help
thing,
speak
and
to
that's
other
and that's
men.
and that's what
It
and that's what a
strikes
lot of.
me, like the way you phrase this, you almost want men to say certain things that you want them to say, as opposed to maybe actually listening to what they're saying.
What certain
Like
things would I want to
just
hear?
kind of like men being allies, men talking to other men, etc. I'm completely okay with that, but I'm not going to repeat like feminist talking points to other men.
We all believe different things. We may be under the label of men's rights activists, but for example, I'm probably the most traditionalist person here. I think we should be allies, but maybe us being allies in a patriarchy wouldn't be so bad. You know, us going back to the past wouldn't be.
Like I said, man, he speaks on the most wildest of things ever. The patriarchy. The patriarchy is essentially. Am I correct in saying this? The patriarchy. Let me try to research, man. The patriarchy, man. Patriarchy. Let's go. What is the patriarchy? System of society or government in which the father or eldest male is head of the family and descent is reckoned through the male line. Or what? A system of society or government in which men hold the power and women are largely excluded from it. So women are excluded from power and men hold the power. That and what so if that's the case, if maybe she's right. Like I said, motivated by greed. Some of these injustices in our system, right? And nobody has more greed than the government. So and mostly men are the ones running stuff. So they are the ones in the government seat right now. So hey, hold on. Here's in the patriarchy society, men have more wealth than women and more influence in the political and economic worlds. More generally, men profit in other ways as well, and women profit in other ways as well. But anyway, what I'm saying is, maybe she's right because, in my thinking, my guess, right, is that hey, we're getting duped over in the legal system because of and as like I said, the legal system, education, whatever else he mentioned, we're getting duped over because of greed, and there's a lot of money to be made from men, bro. That's all I'm saying, and nobody's more greedier than our government, and the people who are running our government are mostly men. But I don't believe it's a gender thing. I feel like if you're just part of the government, you will be corrupt. Period. That's it. But yeah, maybe she's not wrong, right? Maybe, just maybe. Maybe it's stupid.
So bad. It would probably be a lot happier if we were.
No, this is
getting married
stupid,
and
actually.
staying
This guy.
married and having kids and going to church and all that. La-di-da-di-da.
While speaking to the three of you, I feel like you're each coming from different perspectives. So it's hard to, again, just like the
Yeah.
our perspectives, it's hard to generalize. So to me, I feel like
You
there
come
are
differently
certain
from other
things
women.
that even though we're not fully agreeing on it, we're things may get lost in translation, our verbiage may not be 100% correct, that we could at least agree on.
Can I ask one question? What would you envision would be the ideal man with the end goal of feminism as far as educating men or working to dismantle whatever patriarchy is? Like, what does that man look like?
It starts with childhood. We have to teach children as well as girls, because we're also taught, because of toxic masculinity, what a man should be as well.
I think that we just need to hold men accountable
No,
in order
hold
to
on.
kind of make progress. We need help from people that
Like people need to okay, like I understand, and this is me giving benefit of the doubt, because whenever they mention toxic masculinity, I always feel like it's a one-sided thing. But I feel like the only reason, I don't want to paint the reason that they're mentioning it as like a biased reason. Instead, I want to believe that the reason they're mentioning it is because they truly believe it is the root of the of the of the problem at hand. But at the same time, I also want to stress again that the most extreme version of everything exists. If toxic masculinity exists, toxic feminism exists, or toxic femininity, I guess in this case. Yeah, whatever. I said feminism before, but now I'm saying femininity. Doesn't make any sense if I'm gonna say masculinity and then not femininity, you know. But like I said, it's almost like it's one-sided, as you say. If we're all being taught in the wrong way, why is it only because of toxic masculinity? I don't understand that part. And and like I said, I hate bringing this up, but women are more free today than they ever have been yesterday. Back when feminism was starting out, back when feminism didn't exist, they have a lot more opportunities and they make some of their choices. You know, what does that mean? What am I trying to say from all of this? Is not trying to make an excuse for anything. I'm just trying to say there's so many layers to the problems that we have. There's so many contributing factors to them that we shouldn't ignore everything. Don't do that. You are biting us. Hold on, let me make sure I'm recording first of all. Okay, I'm recording. You are just stepping. You're stepping on everything that was supposed to be, investigating at this point.
will listen, because let's be real, when we express our concerns, a lot of men refuse to listen, but they would be more likely to listen to another man.
Do you also feel like you have an ethical obligation to challenge other women or other feminists when, for example, they deny
Yes.
that men face discrimination?
When it comes to things like, men can't be abused, I've had this conversation with another woman, and it's the idea that just because a man may be physically stronger than us does not mean they cannot be abused. And because of that, again, fairness, women need to be held accountable as well.
Yes, I agree.
I want to understand their viewpoint. As a woman and a woman of color, I know how it feels to be disenfranchised. So I want to understand why they feel the need to have a men's right movement.
I hold on before we say anything else. I also want to say, because she also said she feels like they all have their different perspectives. I also feel like the women have their different perspectives, including her herself. I think she's the one that's shown more difference. At least the type of difference that she's shown is that she has shown to be more willing to listen, or at least shown more willingness to listen. She has shown more willingness, at least the type of willingness that we're able to see, that you're able to detect. It doesn't mean other women are not willing to do that. The one in the white tee, oh man, she is definitely, she gives no F's at all. She does not care about men. She's an extreme version, just like this guy.
Feel empathy for the other side.
I feel empathy for the other side. Damn, that's a good question.
I don't think there's ever a time in my life where a person says they're hurting and I don't at least try to listen or understand. My only thing is that I want the same in return. So when I'm genuinely saying I'm hurting or I've been through something, and it's not just a personal experience, because I actively do this work and surround myself with women saying I've been hurt by a man before.
Yeah.
I get that you have stories, but I mean, that's actually my question. I haven't heard y'all stories. Like, I've sat up here and said I have 3 on the top of my head. I have about 30 plus, probably.
If you ask that question, they will tell you about the things that they've spoken about. They'll tell you about the family courts. They'll tell you about our legal system, the jail time, the sentencing of criminals and whatnot. They'll tell you about the media. They'll tell you about what else did they mention? The education system. They will tell you all those things, and oftentimes, when a man has those experiences, he's not really around to have the conversation about sharing them. He's not really around. Like, if you're sent to jail for 10 years for having drugs, you're not going to be around to have that conversation. The men that are having conversations are the men that look at that man's experience, do not wish it upon their worst enemy to even be in that. Never mind even themselves. They don't even wish it upon their greatest enemy to be in that situation. So they are just looking at it from a distance. They realize it could happen to them, and they speak about it. That's it. That's what representation means. That I think that's why these men's rights activists and women's rights activists exist. Is because we're talking about our own experiences and other people's experiences, shared experiences. A man may not have gone through that experience, but it doesn't mean that he couldn't go through that experience. It doesn't mean that he hasn't seen or understood other people that have gone through those experiences. It could happen to any man. It could happen to any man. The one moment, I think, part of the moments I woke up to all of this is when I realized that as a man, I literally could be framed by a woman. A woman can say that I did some things to her when there were no cameras around, no other witness to testify to say, hey, that woman is lying. She could actually be like, no, when I was in a room with Toby, this is what he did. That's not okay. That's not right. That's not okay. That's not okay.
And I haven't heard y'all say, this is what happened to me.
I don't think that I'll ever invalidate a woman's feelings when she says, hey, I've been abused or whatnot. I don't think any of us here are rightfully saying that. But I think what's dangerous is when emotional testimony that may not always be what it is gets, creates bias, right?
Okay, I feel empathy for women being lost, being misguided. Look,
I remember this guy.
I don't know. You can go.
Do you have any bit of empathy for anything we said up here?
Yes, I really do feel empathy for
Why
women.
was that so hard to say? Like, for the stuff that we said, do you have any bit of empathy for the stories I said?
Because exactly.
I just want to know.
Yeah.
I do.
Like, I'm not even trying to be hostile. I just genuinely want to know.
Yeah, I just think that a lot of the problems that have happened in your life are because society is not patriarchal. It's not traditional. It's we're gone. We're lost. We're in a fallen state, right?
There is a change of guard, not necessarily a change of guard, but things are evolving, things are changing. And I feel like a lot of men speak from a viewpoint almost of fear. A lot of men are having a hard time grasping that and feeling confident.
Nah, man, I'm afraid of that jail time. I'm afraid of that criminal record. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of that stuff. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of being accused for something I didn't do. I'm afraid of being divorced and then having to pay alimony and having to pay child support. That's what I'm afraid of. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. And I don't know much about the school system injustice that's happening to men. That much I have to confess. But, I'm afraid for my young boys, for my unborn children. What they have to go through, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what they're going through, but they're probably going through something. Just like that guy. That guy said something, man. We gotta research this stuff. We can't just go around listening to people and then regurgitating what we heard. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Comfortable with it.
I do feel empathy for your personal experience.
Experiences.
but I cannot sympathize with their ideological position because that ideological position is built on a fallacy, and that fallacy is actually costing, that's causing very real consequences for men as a class in this country. So I understand that you are here with us as kind of the good feminist, so to speak, that you feel empathy for men, and I believe you, but I do not believe your movement, and I do not believe your ideology.
All right, we'll leave it at that.
Damn.
Let's wrap.
I mean, like, damn, bro. Like, overall, yeah, ideology, all those things, the movement itself. Yeah, you have a bunch of people out there who represent it in a very negative way, in a very negative light. I believe recently what has happened, what has transpired is the man whose name shall not be said, the bald man who's been out there talking to, who apparently has been running, what do you call this thing? An escort agency or something, online escort agency, Andrew Tata. And he says a lot of things that are mixed with the truth. And I don't know what he's going through. I don't know if those allegations are true, but they probably are because there's evidence being pushed out. But maybe it's the Matrix. Who knows? But let's entertain. Let's say it's true. He is criminal. He is guilty of running a prostitution ring, essentially. You have people like him representing the most extreme version of the manosphere, which is, the part of the internet that speaks of men's rights and men's treatments and all that kind of stuff, right? From a man's perspective, right? Yeah. You have people like him representing us in the worst way possible. The worst way possible. That's the last thing we need right now. We do not need a monster representing us. We do not need the worst of us representing us. The worst of us being the worst of humans representing us. We don't want that. At the end of the day, we have to fight against the sickness of extremism in the world. There's an extreme version of everything, man. Some people who get too emotional take it too far and they decide to be violent. Some people who are happy become so happy that they're ignorant of the situation, of their surroundings. You become so happy and jolly or carefree that you walk around ignorant of the dangers around you, ignorant of the situation, of the circumstances around you. And that can count on a lot of things, on anything, bro. There's an extreme version of this mouse right here. It could be a real mouse. Imagine carrying a real mouse. Oh my goodness. Imagine carrying a rodent. Oh my God, that would be disgusting, man. I really have to come up with better jokes. Anyway, thank you for watching. I don't know how long this has been. It has been 53 minutes. Oh my goodness, this is the longest video I've ever done.